Just 10 days ago, Manchester City had 3 trophies within their sights, but after a week they will want to forget. It is now all in on the WSL.
Higher.
Manchester City against Chelsea. It's Lauren James arriving and it's deflected in. Chelsea knock Manchester City out.
Do it again.
The visitors looking to put that defeat right. The shot comes in, it's deflected. Bethany England in on goal for Spurs. Greenwood left-footed, and that's a brilliant save. Tottenham Hotspur are through to the semi-finals of the FA Women's Cup for the first time in their history.
Do it again.
Oh, and Hemp is there!
Live it in and all the way in. And here is Shaw with a great chance, and she's done it.
And she squeezed it in, I don't know how, and it is 9 league wins in a row for Manchester City.
So Manchester City out of 2 competitions within a week today just got even more important to Gareth Taylor and his team. It is the WSL or bust. However, despite disappointing recent results, City have won their last 9 consecutive league matches. Can they keep that form going today? In fact, Manchester City haven't lost in the league since November, and yes, you guessed it, it is to today's opponents, Brighton. Despite a mixed run of form under interim manager Mikey Harris, there is a feel-good factor down south after they put 7 past Bristol City last time out in the WSL. So let's have a look then at the table. This is how it stands after Chelsea's 1-0 victory over Arsenal on Friday night. They are top of the pile. Manchester City currently 3 points off the pace. Brighton's best ever finish in the league was 6th back in 2021 under Hope Powell. They will need a strong finish to the season to rival that. They are currently in 9th. So if Manchester City have any hope of silverware this season, it is a must-win today. Kickoff is in 15 minutes' time. Yes, you are very welcome along to the Broadfield Stadium. 2 brilliant guests beside me, and I have missed the memo about the coats, Anita Santa and Fern Whelan. Can't believe you didn't let me know. Sorry about that. We will battle on, we will battle on. Anita, let's start then with Manchester City. Visitors here today, but under huge pressure after going out of those 2 cup competitions.
Yeah, most definitely, and I think they'll be disappointed that they went out of the League Cup to Chelsea and of course Tottenham and penalties in the FA Cup. But it's about not allowing that to dent their confidence. Their form in the league has been really good. Bunny Shaw is in great shooting, power right now, and they'll want to continue that. And Chelsea, they're competing on 4 fronts, so this is their single focus, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, for me, I mean, they've got a point to prove. A little bit of the players, they'll be hating, they'll be wanting to make it right, and I think today's the perfect opportunity for them to do that.
And obviously for a former Brighton defender, Brighton beat Manchester City in the reverse fixture. What can they take from that to implement here today?
A clean sheet, for sure. I think first and foremost, they've not done it for the rest of the season, so they need to do what they did that day, be resolute in defence. They came under a lot of pressure from Man City in that game, but Sophie Bagley was fantastic, so they're going to look to call on her today. And also, it's about taking the chances. For me, when they get it, they don't get many chances in front of goal against these sides, so they were clinical then. Can they do that again today?
OK, let's have a look then at how the teams are lining up today. We'll start off with the hosts, Brighton. They are still unable to call upon fullback Poppy Pattinson. She is serving the final game of a 3-match ban. Elizabeth Turlin, she's leading the line for the Seagulls. She has scored 11 goals in 15 league appearances so far this season. And English goalkeeper Sophie Bagley starts her 19th match for Brighton today. She made a WSL record-breaking 13 saves in their 1-0 victory against Manchester City in November. Well, as for the visitors, only 1 change to the side that lost to Tottenham. Angeldal is out, Coombs is in. And also the headline news is that the WSL top scorer, Bunny Shaw, she starts today despite being forced off in the second half of that cup defeat to Tottenham with a shoulder injury. As for England international Chloe Kelly, she is starting on the bench for the 2nd game running. So let's then get the reaction from both team managers. They've been speaking to Joe Curry.
Last time out in the away fixture, Brighton got one over Manchester City. Not many teams have done that this season. What confidence can that breed again today?
Yeah, well, obviously I wasn't involved in that game, so I think what it does do is it gives that group of players the evidence that they can win today. We're under no illusions of the challenge of the task today. Man City are in fantastic form. I think they've been excellent all season. So we've got to be at our best today. We've got to be, firing on all cylinders, and I'm really confident that we can be. And as I say, there is that bit of evidence for the players that they can do it today.
I imagine it's a time to forget in terms of the cup competitions. But does success so restly on this team now, winning the WSL title?
Well, it's the one competition we have left, and I think it's outside of what Chelsea have done. No one's done it in a long time, and we're right in there. I think our league form has been fantastic. I think when you think of our start to the season was really good. We were up there, top of the league, and then we had 6 points to claw back, and we did that. Obviously, the win against Chelsea before the break was big. A little bit of disappointment, like you said, in the cup competitions. But to be fair, the margins were really tight.
Yeah, interesting to hear from Gareth Taylor as well. A couple of weeks on from signing that contract extension. One really positive point, though, for Manchester City this season, both defenders, of course, both of you, has been their very mean defence. Anita, you take this one away.
Yeah, I think, they've had a consistent back line, but in possession it's the way they play with patience. Alexandri drawing in the pressure, waiting for that to happen before the bullseye triangle comes alive, and the movement ahead of the ball is so well coordinated, and they're able to just bypass units and break into the attack, and keeping that width in the wide areas makes it so difficult for opposition teams to defend, isn't it, Fern?
Definitely, and I think obviously attack then into defence. You see here, they do so well to be organised in their back line. You can see they're all in sync, not one player out of line to obviously catch people offside. So they're all singing from the same hymn sheet, which is really important to me, and which is why they've conceded so few goals this season. You can see here they're getting numbers around the ball. They're tight again with that triangle, and if one player wins it, the next player's following up, which for me is really important.
And they've had a consistent back line in the last 5 matches, Greenwood, Alexandri, and then the centre backs, and then they've been able to form those really comfortable relationships, haven't they?
I think for me as well, in terms of in front of them, Hasegawa doesn't really get enough credit in terms of the work she does, in terms of protecting that back line as well, so she'll be key today.
OK. Well, one player who knows both teams very well is the Brighton captain, Vicky Losada. And we have caught up with her this week to see how she is settling into life on the South Coast.
Brighton is care, football style and family. It's actually really nice here in the South. I've never been before. It's just more chill and life goes a bit slower. I started in Barca when I was 15, and then I moved to Western New York Flash in 2014. To be professional, and then after that I came to Arsenal, back to Barca to be professional and win the Champions League, and then Manchester City, Roma, and now Brighton. I wanted to come back to the WSL, coming here and seeing the training ground. You want to be professional. For me, professional is having good conditions every day, and I think the investment of the club is there, and now I've found out that it's like a family. They care about the players, which is important for me also. The ambitions for the club is really big. Manchester City has really good players, we know that. It's also a really important moment in the season. They might be fighting for winning the league, and we need points, so I think it's going to be a really interesting game.
And it is 9 league wins in a row for Manchester City.
And I have one of my best friends, Leila Wahabi, there, so I'm in contact constantly. I've still speak with Steph, Alex, Jess Park. It's nice to have friends after them 2 years.
From our perspective as a group,
You can tell he knows the club very well. We are trying to play the club style, which is not easy, but we are growing in confidence, also taking risks and enjoying a different kind of football. So we just need to keep working, and I think it's great that he's made an impact in the team.
Vicky Losada enjoying life on the South Coast, and look at that fan enjoying the atmosphere here today as they build up to playing Manchester City. Got to get that costume. Just a word on Vicky Lozada before we get to kick-off. She's such a big character within the game and could be so important for this Brighton team as well and building them.
Absolutely, she's a leader, she's got lots of experience, she's been a former Man City player, so she has insights on the profile of the team and will be able to share that with her teammates in terms of limiting their many threats.
Yeah, and you can see there she's quite a calm and composed character, isn't she? So I think that will make a difference today for Brighton, obviously trying to steady them in the way they are playing today.
Because it will be so important, that start for them in particular, and just kind of keeping those calm.
Yeah, obviously the first 25 minutes are key. They can't concede early on in this game. They need to stay in it as long as possible.
Great stuff. The teams are coming out. There is Vicky Lozada leading the line for Brighton. So let's get over to our commentary team for this game. And this is going to be in the company of Gilly Flaherty alongside Vicky Sparks.
10 days ago, Manchester City were going for the treble. Now it's a very different story. They have crashed out of the FA Cup. They've crashed out of the League Cup, which leaves the WSL title as their only hope of silverware this season. A win today will take them back level on points with leaders Chelsea, but Brighton have already undone Gareth Taylor's side once this season, recording their first ever win against Manchester City back in November. Can they spring another surprise today? Paulina Bremer misses out through injury in a blow for Brighton, and Beatrice Sari drops to the bench as Yorelin Karaballi and Madison Haley come in. The in-form Elizabeth Turner leads the line. Only Khadija Shaw and Lauren James have scored more WSL goals than her this season. And Lee Gu-min will be hoping to make an impact from the bench against her former club, just as she did in November when she scored the goal that gave Brighton that first ever win over Manchester City. The prolific Khadija Shaw is fit and starts in a big boost for the visitors after recovering from a shoulder problem. Philippa Angeldal misses out with a slight hamstring issue and is replaced by Laura Coombs. That is Manchester City's one change from that penalty shootout defeat to Tottenham in the FA Cup. They have won every game in the league since that defeat by Brighton in November. Can they bounce back here from the disappointment of those recent cup exits? Well, delighted to have Gilly Flaherty alongside me for this one, and it has been a bitterly disappointing time for Gareth Taylor's side recently. Are you expecting a response today?
Well, they've got to have a response. You know, obviously it's been a tough week in regards for the club. Obviously getting knocked out of two competitions. You know, and obviously then Chelsea have won Friday night too. So there's the pressure on there. They have to get a result today because ultimately the WSL is all they've got left to challenge for.
Mikey Harris, the interim manager for Brighton, has seen his sides pull themselves clear of relegation trouble. Their last WSL victory was a huge one, 7-3 against bottom side Bristol City. That's taken them 8 points clear of that bottom relegation place, and Elizabeth Turnant has been so key in their form in doing that. Her goal scoring's been outstanding this season.
Yeah, and I think in all honesty, it's probably what Brighton have lacked over the last few years, is actually having that out-and-out goal scorer for them. Obviously 15 goals in the WSL this season, and we're fortunate today that we're able to see two of the top three goal scorers at this moment in time in the WSL in this game. So it's a battle between the two, and it's who's going to be out on top.
And there you go. There is the woman who leads the WSL Golden Boot race. She came off with that shoulder issue in the last match against Tottenham. Huge for Manchester City to have her available today. Stacey Pearson is our woman in the middle today. So at the start of this match, the players and the officials take the knee. The message against racism is still clear. So it is Manchester City to get us underway. It has been a desperately disappointing 10 days for Gareth Taylor's side. The treble dream is over. It's only the WSL they have left to fight for. And they bounce back here. The disappointments of recent days. Will it be Brighton who pull off another shock, looking for only their second win over Manchester City in their history, first coming earlier this season. Here they come, Haley looking for the run of Turland. Hasegawa gets there, draws the foul, but already we're seeing that positive front foot attitude from Elizabeth Turnant.
Yeah, I mean, she's an out-and-out runner, you know, and she will challenge. And I think Hasegawa does really well there. She just gets her body across Turland. You can see it here now. She just gets across, a little slight nudge in the back. But she does really well defensively there, Hasegawa. But it's a great start from Brighton already.
Here is Greenwood for Manchester City. Alexander. In possession. Now Hasegawa. Kasparov. How much confidence will that win in November give Brighton coming into this one?
Oh, I think it will be, because I think it's when you get a result against a team like this, you know that you can do it. You know, and I mean, I watched that game as well, and Brighton were very good. They had a very good game plan going into that game, and they punished. They didn't have many chances, but they punished City when they did get their chance. So, yeah, I think knowing that you're coming into it, you've already done one over them, I think they'll be feeling confident they can do it again today.
Yes, and they were helped out by an outstanding performance from their goalkeeper, Sophie Bagley, in that game as well, the Manchester United player. Here come Manchester City, Shaw, back to Fowler. Chloe Kelly on the bench once more for Manchester City this afternoon. Here is Hem, taking on Karabali, Wahabi, now Greenwoods. Manchester City really pushing high up. A nervy clearance away, who yields the first early corner of the game.
I mean, you'd be expecting there, you can't allow Alex Greenwood to pick the ball up there on the edge of the box. She takes a touch, she takes another touch, not one person's coming out to pressurise her. And obviously then as a defender, you just got to get something on it. She'll be fortunate to see it go where it went.
That's what Pinto did, but nervy from Brighton. Manchester City and Alex Greenwood with this early corner. Look at the space that Hasegawa's in. Greenwood does swing it in instead. Brighton will clear. Kasparov. Hasegawa. There's Coombs. Kasparov once more. Hasegawa forwards. Mark on the turn. She's still going. Jess Park. Goes down by Torres Dossier. Now Fowler. Space for him. Won't fall to shore. Hasegawa for Manchester City. Brighton dropping so deep early on. Here is Hemp. Now Wahabi. Hasegawa. Park. Goes down by Lasada. Pinto will help out. Kuhlberg clears away.
Yeah, you just see in Brighton, they're just sitting in a deep block, trying to just allow City to just play in front of them. But you've got to be careful when you sit like that, because you get the likes of Yui Hasegawa who pops up in them spaces. You've got to make sure then you get tight to her. You can't allow her to dictate, especially when you're so deep.
It's close control by Fowler, but the pass won't find Park. Here is Wahabi. Greenwoods trying to thread the eye of the needle through to Lauren Hemp. Bergstrand will collect for Brighton. A bit of pressure. Karabali. Really won't get there.
I think what you're noticing as well, the style of play that Brighton want to play now is before, obviously the new manager coming, that probably would have been rolled out of play, gone up, set up for a goal kick, but he wants them to play, you know, even if it's in dangerous situations, he wants them to play. So when you've not been used to doing that, you know, you have to then keep doing it game after game after game, and to be able to do it against a team like City as well, you've got to be able to be confident to do it, because you could just make a mistake like that.
they suffered their own FA Cup exits in their last match, Brighton. 4-0, they lost to Manchester United, and Mickey Harris saying that you can use that sort of defeat as fuel to drive you forwards, or you can crumble. You know what I and the group will do. As we say, haven't beaten Manchester City for the first time in their history already this season. Certainly something to build on from that performance. Manchester City build down the left, Hemp went for the chip, and Bagley just about deals with it.
I think you can see exactly what she wanted to do there. And Alex Greenwood gets the ball in that position and she gets her head up. It's a beautiful ball over the top there. Obviously, you fancy Lauren Hemp. There's nothing really. She can't put the ball into the box really because Khadija Shaw's too far out. Just doesn't get up underneath it to get it over the top of Bagley.
All Manchester City in these early stages. Kuhlberg under pressure from Fowler. Park will collect. Nice touch takes her away from Tatiana Pinto. Here goes Kasparai. Shaw taking up that position in the centre. That will be a goal kick.
Kasparai does well there to get involved on the overlap, but obviously I do think you missed that with Chloe Kelly not being on the pitch. You know as soon as she gets into them wide areas, she's going to want to put the ball into the box. So it'll be interesting to see if on the right side especially, will they still look to be putting the ball into the box, potentially for him to come in off the back, or will they be looking more for cutbacks with the difference in personnel?
And there she is on the bench today again, Chloe Kelly. What a bench it is for Manchester City. All the way back from Alexandri to Chiara Keating. They're on the verge of progressing in the FA Cup, Manchester City. For a late mix-up between those two over a clearance. And in, took it to extra time and all the way to penalties as Tottenham progressed. Here is Hasegawa. Hemp. Fowler. Yotti there with her. Fowler. Fowler won't trap and Turland's forward to Madison Haley. Good strength from Haley and wins the free kick.
I think on first look there, I didn't really feel like Fowler done much, to be honest, to warrant a free kick. Yeah, I think it's just a battle of bodies, really, but I don't think she does anything late.
Torres Dotti. Anticipation by Greenwood, and Coombs will steer it to Park. There is a zip about Manchester City's play so far. Point to prove, perhaps?
Yeah, and I think, yeah, point to prove after a disappointing week, but also they know that they need to win to stay with Chelsea. They have to, you know, and I think it might help them that they've only got one thing to focus on, whereas Chelsea, obviously, they've got four competitions to be thinking of.
And for the interception, Hasegawa saw the run of Wahhabi. So did Katie Robinson. Followed by Caravali, but nobody in the Manchester City half for Brighton, and it's all the way through with Chiara Keating. Hasegawa, nicely done. Ahead of Shaw, Kuhlberg's there. Zigiotti. Now Haley, Robinson wants it, and Haley has found her, cleared away by Keating. Zigiotti. Won't keep hold of it for Brighton, but almost Brighton in behind there.
Yeah, I mean, they're very fortunate, Man City, to be honest with you, but I think what you're noticing from the centre-backs for Man City, with obviously Greenwood and Alexandri, is they're so tight to Turland. When she comes to get the ball, they're getting so tight to her. They're not allowing her to turn. They're not allowing her to do those runs. So it might be into Turland, set straight away, one touch, and then it'd be Robinson down the right-hand side here to get through. Here come Manchester City with Park, Coombs. Bundled
held over by Yoralin Karabali.
Things just come straight through the back of Coombs there. No, but it's just put your brakes on, you know, as soon as it gets to Coombs there, you just got to stop, put your brakes on, because it's a dangerous position now for Man City.
Here goes Greenwood. Shaw's in there, chests it down. Brighton will clear. Greenwood. Losada.
I think it's really hard for Brighton, because I feel like they're clearing the ball and it's literally just coming straight back onto them, because they're not able to hold it up and keep it.
With the throw. Shaw will pick it up for Manchester City. Kuhlberg with the foot back in. Lead away by Coombs.
Setting up first.
It was such a huge win in the WSL last time out for Brighton. 7-3 against bottom club Bristol City to really haul themselves away from the relegation place. The most goals that Brighton, incidentally, have scored in a WSL game. In fact, they scored more goals in that game than across their 9 previous matches in the league combined. 6 across the previous 9, 7 all in one afternoon against Bristol City. Says now Mikey Harris that they are looking up the table rather than focusing on that 8-point gap, but it was a huge result for them if it had gone the other way. Just been 2 points between them.
Yeah, it's a 6-pointer, and it really, realistically, those sort of games, and I think it really just sort of killed off Bristol a little bit as well, but it's an important, huge result for him.
Losada with the foot in, Kuhlberg. So looking for Robinson. Harvey's there. Now Coombs. They're just pushing up a little higher, Brighton. Alison Haley and Katie Robinson just providing that support to their top scorer, Elizabeth Turland.
Yeah, you can hear Mikey Harris as well. He's constantly saying, let's go, let's go, let's go on the front foot. He wants them to press. As soon as when City plays the ball from the defence into the midfield, he wants them to go, he wants them to get tight.
Alexandru. Kaspera. Hasegawa. Shaw. Lead away by Kuhlberg. Here goes Mary Fowler. Up. Here is Hemp. Wahabi will get there. She's once more, Lila Wahabi. Good run, but ran into trouble. Robinson ran into Hasegawa. He so often just knows exactly where to be.
I'm laughing as well because Wahabi running in there, that's like me when I was centre-back running in, I was thinking, I don't know where to play. Just everyone sort of runs away from you there.
Here is Hemp. As a player, how much would you discuss the last 10 days in terms of going out of the cup competitions?
think you'd hurt, you know, you would really hurt from it. But I think with the way this league is this quick succession, you don't have time to be moping about. You know, you have to get focused again, which I think obviously is what they've got to do now. They're still in the chance of a title. It's not like they're sitting third or fourth and they're way off it. They're still in the title race.
Well, Alex Greenwood is
No 11 for the time being.
suffering from a slight issue here, whether it's a kit issue or an injury issue. We wait to see. Oh, not more sock drama, Gilly. Please. So back underway with Greenwood off the pitch for now. Now I've sorted out the issue. Yes, that was a remarkable situation at Stamford Bridge on Friday. You were there, Gilly.
Yeah, it was a very it was disappointing, you know. Obviously, I think the whole hype of the game and the moment, you know, and it to be delayed by half an hour because of the socks. I mean, obviously it is human error, and obviously there was someone who had to take responsibility for it. But yeah, it was just frustrating when you see things like that happen within our game.
They did eventually get underway after sorting out that sock colour clash. It's a big, big win for Chelsea. Here come Brighton. Almost through to Katie Robinson. Alexandri has to watch Turlin, flags up. Keating saves. But Brighton almost in behind. Denied by Keating and the offside flag. The sense of the danger that Turlin can cause. Good break.
Yeah, really good break from Brighton. I think as well, you see, Man City defenders looked a little bit nervous as well. And I think that's what Turlin comes right off the back of Wahhabi on the other side. Completely blindsided run behind her. Just unfortunate to be offside, but it's a great run.
Yes, they know all about the danger of Elizabeth Turlin. Just 22 years of age, 13 goals this season. Brighton's top scorer by a mile. The only player, in fact, to net over half of her side's WSL goals this season. She scored 11 of Brighton's 20.
Obviously, we're able to see here, it's just taking too long. You know, and I think that's sometimes when you are playing against a team that is sitting in a block, they frustrate you. So you have to make sure your movement's there. You've got to try and get them out of position.
Interception by Madison Haley. Clearest handball you'll ever see from Khadija Shaw.
I think what you'll notice as well with this pitch is the way the ball's bobbling. You know, obviously we've had a lot of rain. It's come into Khadija Shaw a couple of times now, and it's been bouncing up. I mean, obviously it is a clear handball. She's banned the wrong sport, isn't she?
As Gilly says, it has been raining on the south coast, but skies grey with little patches of blue peeking through. Dry for now. As Brighton look for the breakthrough, Lasada with the delivery, and it will ricochet inside the area. She couldn't get the shot away. What a chance for Brighton. Bergsvand in there, causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah,
but just couldn't find the decisive touch.
It was a great delivery in, and she just carries on her run because Man City, Alex Greenwood wins the first ball, but she just doesn't stop. She carries on her run, and it deflects straight down into her. So Greenwood gets a touch here, she just carries on. She just can't seem to get that connection, but she does manage to keep the ball alive as well.
Good defending in the end by Casper Rai, just getting her body in there, stopping Bergsvand making contact. But for all of Manchester City's pressure and possession and good territory as well, Brighton are looking dangerous when they get in behind.
Yeah, well, also as well, Man City haven't really created anything. You had Lauren Hemp's, would you say that's really an attempt, but obviously pass back to Bagley, but they haven't really caused much problem for Brighton.
And they cause a problem here. Wahhabi skips away from Robinson and Zijotti as well. Here is him. Shaw is just behind it. Taken away by Brighton.
Yeah, because I think earlier on in the game when they was winning the ball, they was giving it straight back to Man City, but they're not doing that now. They're looking after it. They're trying to travel with the ball. You can see they're trying to stretch the Man City defence as soon as the ball comes into midfield. Turner's running the defence away, trying to cause the gaps, trying to cause the space for them to play into.
Coombs. Now Greenwood. Alexandri. Kasparov. Here is Alexandri. Now Hasegawa. Shaw. Hasegawa. Wahabi. Hemp now. Up against Karabali. He does well. Karabali will clear away. Here is Wahabi. Kasparov. Park dispossessed. And here comes Zijotti. Madison Haley. Here is Asada. Bergsman. Steps away from Coombs. Now Madison Haley. Too much on it for Katie Robinson.
It's another obviously good chance for Brighton there, but just as that last final ball, just that, especially when you get yourself in that position there, you have to take care of it and have to make the right decision.
Hasegawa. Now here is Greenwood. Here goes Katie Robinson. Intercepted by Greenwood. Keating with the clearance. Losada. Torres Dotti. Caraballi. Again, Brighton stringing together a nice move. Pinto is in there. Alexandri under pressure. Will run the ball clear. Here is Alexandri. Hasegawa. And Manchester City have dealt with that well. Here is Losada. Here is Park. And Hemp could be in here. Hemp for Manchester City. Brilliantly squeezed through. Sophie Bagley beaten. And Lauren Hemp gives Manchester City the goal they sorely need after the 10 days that they've had. Brighton 0, Manchester City 1.
And it's hard for Brighton, you know, because obviously they've had a couple of little moments there in City's box, but you can't allow a player like Lauren Hemp to have the time and the space to do that, because she'll punish them. It's a good patient build-up play from City. You see Lauren Hemp, she's run off the back of Losada. I mean, Bagley, I think, will be wanting to do a bit better with that one, especially from that angle here. But you can't allow a player like Jess Parr to be able to pick the space up, the ball up there in that much space. And from a great angle, she does finish it, but you can see Sophie Bagley, the frustration, the punch down on the pitch as well. She knows she should do better with that one.
It's a lovely ball by Jess Park. Vicky Losada almost getting something on it. But Lauren Hemp taking the chance quickly. And the power on it enough to beat Sophie Bagley. And Manchester City have the breakthrough. Wahabi. Hit away by Bergsvand, up to Losada. Torres Dotti. Bergsvand. Torres Dotti here under pressure. Finds Caravalli. Good ball by Caravalli and a good interception by Alexandri as well. Hasegawa. Wahabi. Here is Hasegawa. Park. Here goes Alexandri. Intercepted by Kulberg. To Shaw, almost stealing that away from Zigiotti.
I've said this before with Brighton, obviously he wants to play, Mikey Harris wants to play a certain way, but you have to know when to play and when not to play, you know, and have to take that player responsibility as well. Even then, you know, trying to overplay, Khadija Shaw manages to nick it off him, but just go back, work it back around, don't be afraid to turn the ball either.
With the throw. Kulberg for Brighton. Here is Losada, pressured by Hemp. She's done really well there, Vicky Losada. Still going. The fall, almost kindly for Brighton. Caravalli, in the end, is rather wasteful.
You can see straight away with Caravalli, she gets a touch there and she has one thing on her mind, and that's to have a shot. A bit sloppy from Alex Greenwood as well, in all honesty, to be able to just give the ball straight to her. But what you're seeing as well is Brighton, they're getting high up the pitch, but they're getting more numbers up the pitch as well. They're not going in isolation. They are all coming up together. For the fact that Caravalli's able to pick the ball up there, who's your right back, in near enough in your midfield position.
Here is Hasegawa. Alexandra. Now Kasparai. Hasegawa once more. Joti almost getting that foot in. A little loose there from Greenwood. Manchester City dallying. Could it be costly? Greenwood's done well to win it back there. Hasegawa forward to Hemp. Off she goes, Lauren Hemp. One thing in her mind, it looks like. Still going Hemp, and the block was needed. Well, she's got drive this afternoon, Lauren Hemp.
Yeah, and I was just watching in the build-up play as well, because you had Laura Coombs come all the way out to left wing, really, and Lauren Hemp's gone and took up the central position, and she's able to pick the ball up here. I mean, no player should be able to pick the ball up there and run that distance as well without even getting a tackle. But you can see as soon as she opens up, she wants to have one thing, and that's a shot.
Manchester City play the corner short. Here is space for Coombs. Blocked away by Brighton, and will spin to Katie Robinson. She's done really well there. Hasegawa matching her stride for stride, but Robinson is too strong. Just in front of Kuhlberg as the flag goes up. And the referee will stop play. Well, she did make an attempt to play the ball there, Kuhlberg, which would make her active. Over on the far side, Tatiana Pinto is saying no.
Yeah, and Katie Robinson there, she didn't really have much to do in the sense of she didn't have much options. You know, she had to really play the ball in. But Kuhlberg's thinks she's on. She thinks she's onside there. You know, but I think as well, Katie Robinson there, she picks the ball up in the wide area, deep in her own half, is able to battle with Hasegawa. She doesn't really have much other option except for travel with the ball. But Kuhlberg, yeah, she's adamant she's onside there.
Yeah, frustration for Brighton all round, really.
A couple of times now you see that Alex Greenwood, she's getting really, really frustrated, and I think sometimes when a team plays in like a mid-block and they're tight, and there's a centre-back, obviously me being a former centre-back, when I used to do it, when you drive out, if there's no movement or space in front of you, you're literally running into a brick wall, and that's what you see with Alex Greenwood, the frustration. They was doing really well when they was putting the ball over the top, making Brighton drop and face their own goal.
Here is Kasparai. Hemp over on the right for now. Here is Lauren Hemp. Tried to go for the 1-2 with Park, and Manchester City do win the free kick.
And I think that's what City have to do today. Up against Brighton, when the ball comes into those sort of areas, it's a one-touch round the corner, it's a 1-2 touch. Don't allow Brighton to get close to you, because when they do, there's a good chance they are going to give away a free kick. But that's the way you're going to be able to move Brighton in this game.
Well, coming from behind has been an issue for Brighton in the WSL this season. They have won just 1 point from a losing position in the league. That's the joint lowest in the WSL. Versus Manchester City, who dropped only 2 points from winning positions this season. They look for the second goal. Park almost wriggling all the way through. It's another corner, but those driving runs into the Brighton penalty area are causing the home side no end of problems.
Yeah, it's deja vu again, similar to Lauren Hemp's one. Jess Park's able to pick the ball up, she's able to turn, skips away from Losada and is just able to drive into the space. Someone has to eventually come, which Bergsman does, and obviously Man City win a corner.
Short option is there. Jess Park moves away, and Mary Fowler will swing it in. And the header is off the line. Manchester City so close to the second as Coombs' effort is deflected behind. Last-ditch defending by Brighton.
Yes, it's a good header from Alex Greenwood there. Back down towards the goal. Jotti's standing there on the line, and that's the important in the second phase, to make sure your switch on. Does well to clear the ball.
Another corner to Manchester City. Time Caravali meets it for Brighton. Again, so deep, there's no outlet. Kuhlberg is trying to provide one. Hasegawa, very calmly done. Such composure on the ball, the Japan international. Alexandri to Park. Nice interchange between Manchester City once again, and Khadija Shaw could be in here. Good foot in by Bergsvand. Shaw still has it. Now Fowler. Kasparai in support. Cleared away by Bergsvand. Hasegawa. Bergsvand there again. Cleared away by Kullberg.
I think Brighton did it really well, but I really do think Manchester City are missing Chloe Kelly in that wide right area, because Mary Fowler wants to cut back inside on her left foot. You know, and then obviously Brighton then are set for the ball to come in, and they're able then to squeeze the pitch. But once they're beaten in that back line, when you have got someone like Chloe Kelly in there, she's able to put the ball in, whip it in, put it in the air, dink it up, whatever it may be, whatever delivery. They're just missing that.
Well, she is an option from the bench for Gareth Taylor this afternoon, as Coombs on the turn does very well. Free kick given eventually.
I mean, it's a clear free kick there. Karabali just goes straight through her. Good little play, though, from Coombs, being able to flick the ball to the right of her and draw the foul. See here, we just see Khadija Shaw. It's been a good battle today, her and Bergsvand, to be honest.
Yeah, some good defending in the Brighton back line there by Guro Bergsvand. More defending. Sophie Bagley and her side to do. Greenwood with the free kick, good delivery, Shaw with the header over.
I think it's really hard with a delivery like that, because naturally it is coming outside, and obviously then you've got to try and generate the power to get it back on target.
She has a very good record against Brighton, Khadija Shaw. She has a very good record full stop, really, doesn't she? 6 goals in 4 games against Brighton in the WSL. Here goes Wahabi, now Fowler. To the Shaw, she will get it back, Fowler. Knocked away, Park will take charge for Manchester City. Coombs won't have a go. Lead away by Zigiotti.
Man City just running into so many numbers in that central area. Brighton are compact in there. It's going to be really hard to get a strike off. I think Kasparai as well was a little bit annoyed on the outside, because the ball could have been slipped through to her.
She is now in possession. Here she is, Kirsten Kasparai. Now Fowler. Kasparai will latch onto it. Good play. Goes for goal herself. Bagley beats it away. And just enough on it to send Hemp wide as well. Manchester City still come. Wahabi. Poor delivery. Cleared away by Lasada, who was then taken out by Khadija Shaw. Shin pads going flying there and everything.
Nice little back away. But yeah, I think Kasparai there is really good. Cuts back inside. Has an attempt herself, has the chance. But yeah, I mean, it is a clear foul. These shin pads these days, they're so small as well, not like when I used to play. But here, Kasparai picks the ball up. She drives to the ball, she cuts inside on her left foot. Good strong save from Bagley to push the ball wide, away from Hemp, who was coming in at the back post too.
Here come Manchester City once again. Fowler's there, Fowler scores 2-0. Lovely run, lovely finish. And Manchester City take a grip on this game.
That's like Man City's DNA, isn't it, really? From one wide player setting up the other wide player. Lauren Hemp there, it's a great delivery. Brighton obviously start with playing the ball, Sophie Bagley goes long. Good pick up play from Lauren Hemp. Little 1-2 as well, which is what I said earlier on. That's the way to get past Brighton. And then Mary Fowler completely unmarked at the back post there. 1-2 from Coombs and Hemp. Great delivery in. She's in that difficult area as well with Bagley. Does she come? Does she stay? Defenders ain't got a clue where she is. It's a nice calm finish from Fowler.
Third goal of the season for the Australian. Previous two came in the FA Cup. Now she has one in the WSL for this campaign. Manchester City have breathing space against Brighton. And Brighton hit back immediately. Carabali won't quite reach Robinson, and Wahhabi's clearance got a nick off Katie Robinson as well. It will be a Manchester City goal kick.
I think that would be a frustration for Brighton as well. It's just that decision-making and the execution. You know, you get yourself in those positions, you get higher up the pitch, now you have to have the quality to look after it and to punish City.
Now, she made some big saves in the victory against Manchester City in November, Sophie Baggerly. Beaten twice this afternoon. And it's the pace with which Manchester City have managed to conclude both of the attacks that have beaten Sophie Baggerly. Hem taking the shot early on for the first. Perhaps I feel she could have done better at a near post, but the power on it from him enough to take it through. And again, quick cross, quick finish, quick goal, 2-0 for the second. Alexandre. Intercepted Asada. Sagawa to Coombs. Trying to get past Bergsvans. He's done well. Hemp's done better. Khadija Shaw, angles tight, unselfish. Fowler's effort blocks. The referee will stop play. But they were almost in again there, Manchester City.
I think it's just frustrating because, like I said earlier on, I know obviously Michael Harris wants Brighton to play football, yeah, but there has to be a limit, there has to be a right time. There with Bergsvan, you either got to clear the ball or you got to use your body to try and take. Don't try and play those areas because a team like Man City, they'll punish you. Here, just put the ball out, just go long. You can't afford to do that. Obviously, when you're in possession as well, the rest of your players are too far away from you to help support you if the ball does turn over.
Go, putting on the press again, Manchester City. Zijotti. Finds Carabali. Turner now, good strength. Forward by Zijotti. Robinson will chase. Appealing for handball, Manchester City. Not given a little shirt tugged by Robinson and Wahhabi there as well, but the referee is happy to let things play on. Here goes Asada. And Torres Dottir. And it's her goal that has given Manchester City this breathing space. Deserved overall, Gilly?
Yeah, I think it is what it is. It is breathing space, you know, and I do think that Brighton have looked dangerous when they've got into the final third, but it's just the lack of the quality that they haven't had today. But yeah, I mean, I think it is deserved. I think if you're looking at the way in regards to chances, City have had the better ones, but they've punished Brighton as well for overplaying.
And they're coming forward once more as we enter 2 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. Wahhabi. Brighton have a player down in the centre circle. It's Torres Dottir. Here is Coombs. Manchester City take advantage. Hempt will squeeze it through to Coombs, and Zijotti got an important foot in. Brighton really, you think, should now play the ball out of play, and referee Megan Wilson takes that decision out of their hands. Torres Dottir will be able to receive some treatment.
It'd be interesting to see what happened there because, I mean, I completely missed it, whether it was off the ball. She seems to be in a bit of discomfort though.
Well, work to do in this upcoming second half. Mikey Harris moved across in the men's academy at the start of February after the rather surprise dismissal of Melissa Phillips. Incidentally, Melissa Phillips, the only manager that Gareth Taylor has never beaten in the WSL. Who is this issue for Torres Dottir? Completely off the ball, nobody near her.
Yeah, she just goes down straight away. And obviously, I mean, I played with Maria. She's not a player that likes to go down easily. So obviously something must have caused her a lot of discomfort for her to do that.
Yeah, she describes herself as a bit of a Viking, likes to go in hard and win the ball, the Norway international. But she has really struggled with injury at times during her career as well, and Brighton will very much be hoping that this isn't serious. But whenever a player goes down off the ball, it's always a concern, Julie.
Yeah, and I think even if you're just looking at her response, she looks visibly upset, emotional. And I do think naturally as a player, whether it be something in her knee or wherever it may be, you do have that automatic, you're scared a little bit, you know.
Well, this is an earlier incident with Khadija Shaw. Of course, the medical staff will be having a real look at what the potential issues might be, but Maria Torres Dottir certainly in some discomfort and some distress as well. It is almost half-time. Whether they will wait until half-time to make any changes, we shall see. She's back on for now. And of course, they have the break coming up to assess the extent of any damage.
She doesn't seem to be running too comfortably though with it. But again, it might just be this, it's not long to half-time. Let's get in, we've got 10-15 minutes or so with her, we can make a decision then. Which does seem to be in a lot of discomfort.
And it has to be get to half-time now, doesn't it, for Brighton? 2-0 is very, very different to 3-0, and that's the risk you take. Let's come out to this right-hand side for now. Maria Torres Dottir. Carabali's gone central. So Torres Dottir up against Lauren Hemp. That's interesting if you're not feeling 100%, isn't it? Berg's fan taking charge, dispossessing Shaw. Here is Park. Manchester City, though, will know. Time is ticking away, but they potentially have an opportunity here with Brighton's back line not quite at full fitness. Well, risk has paid off. They've got through to half-time, Brighton. They'll assess Maria Torres Dottir. But Manchester City it is, who lead by 2-0 at the break. Julie Flaherty.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a frustrating half, I think, for Brighton. Obviously, they did set up initially really well. Man City, I still think they've got another couple of gears to go to get to the level that we know that they can play at. But they're going in the happier team because they're 2-0 up. But it'd be interesting to see if Brighton carry on doing this because trying to press for 90 minutes is a long time. And then obviously interested to see if Torres Dottir comes back out again after the break.
It's the WSL title on the line for Manchester City. And with the way this race is going, every game is must win. They are winning at half-time at Brighton by 2-0.
So Manchester City in control at the break. Anita Sante and Fern Whelan are alongside me. Anita, is that a fair reflection, that scoreline, on what we've seen in that first half?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Man City, they dominated the game, especially in the midfield areas. They didn't really create chances and test Bagley, but they had controlled possession. And I felt early in the game Brighton were dropping a bit too deep, but they did start to adjust as it progressed in the half.
Yeah, they seem to get their press right as a half went on a little bit, and they created a really good chance within that first half. But yeah, I think on the balance of it, City have been the dominant team. For me, they haven't really got out of first gear. They've still got another level that they can probably reach, to be honest.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the first goal then. This one coming from Lauren Hemp, who has been so lively in that first half so far.
Yeah, I think the first goal comes from a Brighton turnover, and you see the space that Jess Park is able to just pick up, drive in between the units, and then slide in Lauren Hemp. And 1v1, Lauren Hemp is deadly. But I have to say, I think Bagley has to do much better in this situation. It's near post finish, and she needs to get a stronger, firm hand to deflect that shot.
Yeah, you can see again, Hasegawa does really well to pick the ball up in the first instance in midfield. Bagley tries to get down, but she doesn't get down quick enough. But to allow Jess Park that amount of space in midfield, for me, is criminal. And then Lauren Hemp, throughout the first half, she's been getting pressed tightly by Caraboli, but you can see what she can do when she gets a bit of space and time.
Yeah, you were calling that goal before it even went in once the pass was released from Park, because you did just sense that once they got a moment of where they could implement, some clinicalness in attack, they would take it.
It was. They've done so well to keep it, to keep tight to her. She's not been able to turn, to get faced, but when she gets that time and she gets allowed that space, yeah, it did straight away. It was goal, and there we go. She got the first one.
And then they managed to double it not long before the half-time break, with Mary Fowler just sliding in to finish off.
Yeah, well, it was a great play, attacking play down the left-hand side, and you'll see, as the ball progresses, that City are able to just play from back to front, you build up, win the ball with their press, which they've done so well this season, and turning over the ball in those midfield areas, picking it up. Nice combination play between Laura Coombs and Hemp, and this is what they've lacked. Direct balls into the box and the back stick for Mary Fowler to just capitalise. Yeah,
Brighton again switching off for me at the back post. You can't allow Mary Fowler that time and space, and again it's from their own playing out. They've tried to do it as the game's gone on, and at times it's worked for them, but you've got to know when you can play out from the back, and when sometimes you just have to release it, because teams like Manchester City will punish you given that chance in front of goal.
Yeah. And City have dominated in this area, forcing turnovers and creating good chats, and they showed that in that instance.
Yeah, they're really setting traps for them.
And Manchester City are getting so much of the ball through midfield and just dominating, mostly because of Hasegawa and just where she finds herself.
Yeah, I think in the early parts of the half, Brighton, the distances were too big from back to front. The defensive line, the forward line, gaps were popping up. Hasegawa was just able to find space because she's so intelligent. She knows how to pick up space, goes off the back shoulder, her composure on the ball as well to link up with players. She's always alive, isn't she, Fern, and wanted to look for those, always looking to get on the ball.
Yeah, you can't give a player like Hasegawa the time and space that she's been afforded in midfield. There's been times when Alex Greenwood has literally took a step, pointed and gone, she's going to go there. She's been like a little bit of a puppet, to be honest. She's pulling all the strings in midfield, and her pass completion is ridiculous. She's not giving the ball away, she doesn't do it. So she's vital for this team, and she's pulling all the strings in midfield.
Brighton have had chances. Once they weathered that initial kind of 10-15 minute storm at the start, they started to kind of press into the game. On the counter, they're looking good. Chances with a couple of set pieces as well.
Well, this is going to be part of their game plan. They know City are probably going to dominate the ball. Can they exploit spaces when they get higher up the pitch with numbers and find that space in behind? But it comes from the wide free kicks, a lovely delivery into the box, and you just see, I think it's Bergsand on the back post who just isn't able to really sort of gather her feet and get real good contact on the ball.
Yeah, she just couldn't. She tried to keep that alive in there, but you say what they're going to try and do is play on the transition. Brighton, they know they're not going to have lots of the ball within these games, so what they do is they counter quickly, and with someone like Katie Robinson on the ball who can get direct in those wide areas, they just need a little bit of quality in that final third, and there's a potential a goal will come for them.
Because you could see it down that flank, couldn't you, between Carvalho and Robinson? Once they started to try and kind of find those passes together, they were trying to exert that pressure and create that space and create those runs.
Yeah, I think Carvalho needs to be given a lot of credit for the way she's played in this first half. She's kept Lauren Hemp quiet, and then when she has been able to, as you say, get the turnover, she's linked up really well with Katie Robinson. So that, there's positivities from the way they've been within that first half, for sure.
Interesting stuff so far. We will see what is ahead in the second half, but there was a small matter of a potential title decider on Friday night as the holders Chelsea were taking on Arsenal, and if you missed it, here are the best bits.
Being pressured by Niamh Charles. Brighton putting the pressure on too, and it's worked. Here's Lauren James, surrounded by Arsenal players, doesn't usually bother up. James does get the shot away, and it's in! The champions strike first at Stamford Bridge, where Lauren James is the queen. Yet another goal here for her, 8 of her 13, and a big one at the bridge in the battle of first and third here. Brilliant, typical balance and grace, but with power from James. This is Brighton trying to tease one in there for Canarud. This is Cuthbert. Oh, and Nuskin in! And she's onside, it's going to count. It's 2-0. Arsenal hoping for a flag. Cuthbert's dragged it, but Nuskin has glanced it. Arsenal shell-shocked, and now they've given the ball away again as Canarud comes forward. It's a threat of 3-on-3 here. Johanna Ritten-Canarud. Oh, it's deflected and it's in! And in 15 minutes, this 6-pointer has become a non-contest. It's Chelsea 3, Arsenal 0. McCabe with the corner. And that's Kim Little. And it's flashed in via another deflection. On a night of glancing blows, I don't think this is going to change anything other than the fact that Chelsea don't have a clean sheet. It's off Macario. It was heading wide. It's 3-1.
So confirmation then of that result there from Friday night and yesterday. Goals from Kenza Daly and Ebony Salmon helping Aston Villa to that victory over Everton. 2 other games ongoing. Liverpool 2-0 up against West Ham United. Manchester a goal to the good against Bristol City. Both those kicked off at 12 o'clock, and then as you can see at 2 o'clock we've got Tottenham Hotspur up against Leicester City. Right, well, let's have a little bit of reaction and analysis to that big game on Friday night. How impressive was that from Chelsea, Anita?
Really impressive. I think Nuskin, the queen of deflected goals, but I think Emma Hayes unlocking Lauren James, who was a doubt earlier, you know, with an illness, was able to just show her magic and her quality. But the way she unlocked Nuskin in that false 9 position really shows the ability for Chelsea to adapt despite the adversity they faced.
Did you say she's a bit of a queen of versatility as well, isn't she, Nuskin? We've seen her in loads of different positions, obviously centre-back, midfield, and then being deployed just to keep those centre-halves occupied in terms of Leah Williamson, Lotte Wubbenmoy. They kind of didn't really know too much what to do, and then Lauren James was afforded far too much space to be able to do what she does best and score goals at Stamford Bridge.
And I think for Chelsea, for Chelsea fans in particular, that will be so heartening, considering all those conversations about players that they're losing, changing formations, and the fact that they still have, a lot of competitions alive.
But this is a team with winning mentality. They've been here before a number of times, and despite the challenges, have been able to show that they have the quality and the professionalism to just adjust and deliver.
They thrive in adversity, don't they? I think a little bit. They seem to, when all the talks about, I think a lot of people predicted Arsenal were going to win yesterday, and then they were like, okay, well, we'll go one more, we'll do it again, and we'll come back fighting. And it gives the players who maybe aren't the ones talked about a little bit opportunities to really stamp their foothold on the game a little bit. So for me, like Ritten-Canarud, I thought she was fantastic again, but again, Arsenal afforded her far too much time and space to be able to drive her players.
Okay, we might have time to talk about their run-in a little bit later in the programme, but let's get over to Jo Curry now. On the sidelines, she is with comedian Susie Ruffle.
Yes, comedian and also half of the award-winning podcast, Big Kick Energy. She's also a massive Brighton fan. So with that in mind, Susie, what are your thoughts on that first half?
I mean, it's disappointing, isn't it, that we've conceded 2 goals, but I do think, defensively, I do think we were playing pretty well until that first one went in. I thought we had quite a lot of hope, and I'm hoping that now the girls will come out with a bit more vim, but I'm not losing hope. I'm here, I'm a seagull, I'm still hopeful.
I'm a seagull. I love it. Great. We know that Brighton are looking for a full-time manager. If you were going into that dressing room right now, how are you going to turn this around?
I would say don't lose hope. I think that's the thing. I think occasionally, certainly in the second half of games, we sometimes lose a bit of hope. We sometimes are less cohesive. So I would go in and go, come on, girls, get stuck in. Don't lose hope. There's still a chance. Come on, let's get one away. We keep getting up there. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just get it in the net.
In terms of this season, you came into this weekend 8 points clear of Bristol and bottom. You're more than likely safe, but you're not going to win any silverware. What do you want to see from this side between now and May?
I just hope that we keep improving. It feels like we are improving, we're slowly getting there, and I just hope that I'd love to see a manager, even if it's the interim manager going full-time, that'd be brilliant, but I feel like we need to have someone at the helm that we know is going to stay there. And that's the thing that I'm really hoping for Brighton. And certainly moving forward, maybe a bit more money, maybe some new players, that would be a great thing to see in the break.
She wants to see cash Brighton, that's what she wants to see.
True.
Now, I can't believe there's anyone who hasn't listened to, I mentioned it was an award-winning podcast, Big Kick Energy, but if they haven't, what can they expect from it?
Big Kick Energy is a podcast with me and fellow comedian Maisie Adam, and it's all about celebrating the women's game. We talk about international stuff, we talk about the domestic season, and it's for anyone that is a fan of football. If you're a new fan, come along, we'll bring you in, and if you've been a fan for years, we also think there's something there for you. We've also had amazing guests recently, including Carly Telford, Gilly Flaherty, who is commentating today, and Sophie Baggerly, who is our keeper at Brighton, and it's been fantastic, and there's been such a wonderful, loyal listenership. So if you haven't listened, give it a listen. We think it's brilliant, and we've won quite a few awards already, so other people do as well.
Did we mention it was award-winning? Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Susie.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
We are all avid listeners and subscribers to the podcast, thanks to Joe and Susie there. Let's have a look then at what is coming up across the BBC. A busy night of sport on BBC One. Premier League highlights and match of the day. 2, that's from 10:30, and then you just stay right there for highlights of the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Remember, Liverpool are travelling to Old Trafford. That one starts at 10:55. And yes, of course, all the highlights from the Women's Super League on the Women's Football Show from 11:35. And on the iPlayer, there is this.
So how was your day?
The usual.
Before the new series starts, watch all episodes of Blue Lights on BBC iPlayer.
Well, as they took into the tea, let's remind ourselves of what has happened so far here after the first half.
10 days ago, Manchester City were going for the treble. Now, it's a very different story. And Hem could be in here. Hem for Manchester City. Brilliantly squeezed through. And the header is off the line. Last-ditch defending by Brighton. Here come Manchester City once again. Fowler's there. Fowler scores 2-0. Manchester City it is who lead at the break.
Oh, the loyal companion. He hasn't quite had enough, has he? No, surely. Let's see what's going to happen in the second half. Brighton do have to keep the faith. However, they're not so good when they're having to come from behind.
Well, they haven't managed to score a goal in their last 2 home games, so I think it's going to be a tall task for them. And from a City perspective, I think they have another level in them to just drive the intensity, and perhaps we'll see a Chloe Kelly or someone like that come into the game and really dominate down the wide areas.
Exactly that. I think that's where I worry for Brighton a little bit, is that they probably haven't even got out of first or second gear yet. So it depends. If City take their foot off the pedal, though, there could be opportunities for Brighton to get in on the transition, as we've said before, or even on set pieces as well.
OK, let's see. Anita Fern, thank you so much. Let's get back to our commentary team. Vicky Sparks and Gilly Flaherty.
Thanks very much, Sarah. Oh, just looking at that Brighton lineup, it looks as though Maria Torres-Dottir has not made it out for the second half, and indeed Brighton are preparing a change. Lee Mengwen will enter the field, and there is the confirmation. Torres-Dottir will not be able to continue, picked up an injury right at the end of the first half as Megan Wilson prepares to get us underway for this second period. So there is the change. Lee Mengwen replacing Maria Torres-Dottir, and that's a lot of experience, Gilly, to have lost. I mean, Lee Mengwen as well, an experienced player, but you played with Maria Torres-Dottir. She really likes to orchestrate that back line, and she didn't look happy initially when she came off. Did manage to continue until half-time as Brighton look to break through the Manchester City back line early on. A little too much on that for Lasada, and Manchester City will have a goal kick, but it does mean a bit of a reshuffle at the back for Brighton. Karabali has come into the centre. Kuhlberg on the left-hand side, Lee Meng-wen over on the right-hand side, and Bergsvand completing that back line. But how much of a miss is Torresdottir in this second half?
Yeah, she will be a big miss because she's a ball player, centre-back as well. She likes to be on the ball. Obviously, Karabali's come inside. It was a bit of a tasty match-up as well, a bit of a battle between the two centre-backs for Brighton, and obviously then Shaw too. Obviously, Karabali's coming, I think, to give the physical presence as well in there.
And it is a position that is very natural to her, Yorulem Karabali. Here goes Bergsvand. Now Lee. Robinson. Lee once more. Keens gets the foot in.
I think it's so important as well when you are a substitute, when you're coming on the pitch, get on the ball early, get your touch in as soon as you can.
Here is Robinson against Wahabi, he makes the block. Lauren Hemp gets the foot in for Manchester City. Keating will clear away. Karabali with the foot in. Well, we said this was a must-win game for Manchester City. Realistically, they all are now as they go head-to-head with Chelsea. And Arsenal, of course, still in the WSL title race. What will Gareth Taylor have said to his chargers at half-time? And, of course, the 3 points are the primary concern, but goal difference, we know, might come into the title race when it comes to the final reckoning as well.
Yeah, I think goal difference could potentially have a big say in it too. So that's why you have to just stay switched on. You don't want to give Brighton anything today. You don't want to slip up. Obviously, we are looking at the WSL's best defence in the league at the moment in regards to Manchester City. So they pride themselves on their clean sheets. But I think it's just about staying patient, go and get some more goals as well to add on to it. But it's so tight at the top between the three of them.
And we see there how close it is. A win by 6 or more would take Manchester City top on goal difference, but first and foremost, it's about closing out the 3 points against a Brighton side who have shown their danger on the break and have started this second half positively.
Yeah, I think they've set the tempo. You know, you see they're pressing early. But it's just hard when City pick the ball up in those gaps, you know, and it is hard to try and press all the time. You can't do it physically as a player. But it's about if the front line go, then the midfield have to go as well. The defence have to come up too.
Here's Alexandri to Shaw. Pressured by Karabali. Shaw does well. Now Hemp. Off she goes again, Lauren Hemp, up against Lee Meng-wen. Wahabi. Hemp, nice turn. Decent try. Very decent indeed. Cannons off the post. What an effort from Lauren Hemp, so close to 3-0 Manchester City.
And you probably wouldn't expect Lauren Hemp to come in on her right foot and curl the ball the way she did. It's a great effort, it's a great chance. Just was a shame that there was no Manchester City player able to pick up the rebound.
Manchester City still come. Here is Jess Park, nice footwork. And in the end, straightforward enough for Bagley. But it's all about that effort from Lauren Hemp.
Yeah, it is a great effort. Obviously, it's good little patient, but she just spins Meng-wen. She curls, you can see what she's trying to do. She's trying to curl it into the far corner, but the post saves Brighton.
Manchester City coming again. Fowler. Just ahead of the Australian on the return. Alexandri just enough to Alex Greenwood's. Hasegawa. Looking to score at 1 in Manchester City. In terms of their record at the other end, no clean sheet in their last 3 games after a run of 5 in a row. comes to goal difference. Looking to keep that back line tight. Here is Hemp. Coombs on the stretch. Bergsvand can usher the ball behind.
Now, I'm just watching as well in the build-up. Khadija Shaw, she's staying on Karabali, and I think the reason she's doing that is because Karabali wants to get involved in a fight with her. She wants to get involved in that tussle, and I think what Khadija Shaw is hoping, the ball comes in and she's then able to spin her and then leaves the gap in the space, whereas Bergsvand's being very clever with it. Whereas I think Karabali just going, it's like a steam train just going through the back of her.
Nice play by Robinson. Lasada. Zijotsi to Kuhlberg. Closing down by Fowler. Lead away by Karabali to the feet of Tatiana Pinto, who wins the free kick, much to Casper I's displeasure.
I think Pinto does well there because it's harsh to give a free kick, because I think Casper Rai just comes in and she's got the pressure, she don't want her to turn, but Pinto does well enough to draw the foul.
Wahabi. Fowler. Park, bit of space. Fowler. Shaw's on the move. Casper Rai, Shaw, time to take the touch. Coombs with the effort, blocked by Bergsvand. And Hemp will let it bounce for the corner.
It's good play from Casper Rai as well by joining in, not just standing at the back, joining in as a full-back there. Great ball through to Fowler, and Casper Rai just comes in into that space. Brighton are not tracking it, just doesn't seem to drop in quick enough for Khadija Shaw to do that set to Coombs. Just bouncing around, which I don't think the pitch helps at all.
Fowler with the corner. Lead away by Karabali. Only as far as Hemp, and now Coombs. Ricochet is kind to Brighton. Karabali's clearance out for the throw.
And you've seen Coombs so many times in this game, able to pick the ball up on the edge of the box there without any real challenge.
Yeah, she's certainly had several chances to get on the score sheet this afternoon. Laura Coombs, 4 goals in total for the season for the England international. Do you feel that Manchester City need another goal to make the game safe?
I'll answer after this.
Let's see if they get it here. Casper Rai. Here is Hemp. Shaw was in there. Well, headed away by Bergsvand and helped on by Kuhlberg. Madison Haley with the foot in. Pinto down. Brighton free kick.
Just going back to, obviously, your question. I'd say getting another goal will just ease them a little bit, in the sense of if Brighton do get a chance, you know, and it goes 2-1, then it can be, anything can happen then. Whereas I think naturally, listen, the more goals that you can rack on and add on, the more comfortable you will feel as well. But it's just, you know, in a game like this, the longer the game goes on at 2-0 and Brighton are going to gamble and try and push for something, you don't want it ending up 2-1 the last 10 minutes or so, because that'll give them the momentum and really the push to go and, hold on a minute, we could potentially nick a draw here.
Here is Keating. As Manchester City once more enjoy a spell of possession. 75% in all they've had in this game. But stats aren't always everything. Going back to that 1-0 defeat against Brighton in November. Brighton's first ever win over Manchester City. City had 35 shots. They hit the woodwork twice, including the bar after 19 seconds from Chloe Kelly. But it was that late goal from Lee Gu-min, their former player, that undid them. Oh, Coombs down right on the edge of the area there, giving the referee a decision to make, and she's given the handball against Laura Coombs. Well, Interesting call from referee Megan Wilson, but it's one of those, you've got to wait for the whistle as a player. You can't just say, hang on a minute, I want a penalty.
Yeah, no, you do have to wait. I think, no, with Coombs, knowing Coombs, she's a very honest player, and I think she tries to stay on her feet for as long as she possibly can, so I do think she felt the connection there from the side or on the back of her heels.
It was just outside the area, so it would have been a free kick had it been given. Here is Lozada. Such an experienced player, highly decorated with Barcelona, and the former Manchester City player herself, of course. Lead away by Keating. Carabali under pressure from Shaw, who made the block, and Coombs saw Fowler in space. Well covered by Lee Meng-wen.
Again, just seeing Brighton playing dangerously with the ball as well. You know, they're trying to do the patient build-up from the back. A bit similar to Greenwood, really, in the first half, in the sense of a centre-back. There's not really much movement in front of her. You're eventually setting yourself to get into a trap because you forward presses you, which is what we just saw from Shaw. There's a good chance you're going to get a turnover.
Here is Turlands. Madison Haley, back to Turlands. Pinto can't quite squeeze it to Kuhlberg. They need to try and get Elizabeth Turland, their top scorer, into the game more.
Yeah, she hasn't really seen much of the ball in a game like this. It's difficult because obviously Manchester City have had most of the possession, and I think in the first half, when Brighton did get the ball in the latter stages of the first half, they got a bit better with it, taking care of it when they went forward. But someone just over-hitting it or giving the ball straight back to City, you're not going to be able to get her into the game as much.
Frustration for Lauren Hemp. Read by Alexandri. Oh, gets the better of Pinto, and Coombs forward to Fowler. Neat footwork. Greenwood. Hasegawa. It's Greenwood once more. Shaw's making a run on the shoulder of Carabali. This would be the required response to those two cup exits for Manchester City. It's Brighton coming forwards. Turlands, Kuhlberg joining the attack. Here is Emma Kuhlberg. Hemp's gone all the way with her and done very well.
Yeah, really good from Lauren Hemp there, because you can see the space opening up. Kuhlberg was striding into it. Lauren Hemp had to track back, otherwise she was through.
Beautifully done by Hasegawa. And Manchester City are on the hunt for a third goal. Here is Coombs. Fowler to the left, poor delivery. Lee Meng-wen will clear away.
Just a couple of times now from Coombs, our last few passes have just fell short of where they needed to go.
Hasegawa looking for Shaw, cleared away by Kuhlberg, and Pinto will help it on. Here goes Hemp. One thought in her mind once again. Down on the edge of the area, but nothing doing. A little bit more frustration for Lauren Hemp. Bryson through Zigiotti. Back to Carabali. Should be able to clear away. They're inviting that pressure on once again. Let's see what they do with it. Carabali to Zigiotti. And the flag goes up against Katie Robinson.
Yeah, it'd be good to see this back, to see how close it was, because the space opened up for Katie Robinson. Obviously, Carabali then done a little turn. mean, I think City hold the line well. I think they know what she's going to do, and that is Katie Robinson's game. She likes to stretch in behind.
Well, changes of foots for Brighton. Madison Haley makes way. And the former Manchester City player, Lee Gumin, who scored from the bench against City back in November, is on. Lacey Simons so enters the field. Vicky Losada, the captain, is withdrawn. So Lee Gumin, who has a very good record against Manchester City since leaving them for Brighton. She has either scored or assisted in all 4 of her WSL games against her former side. Here she is now, closing down Kiara Keating. Very experienced South Korean international. It's the time of the game where Brighton have to go for it, Gilly.
Yeah, and I think with Lee Gumin, she's gone down central. Turlan's gone out to the right. And I think with Lee Gumin, she's very direct. You know, she likes to press you. She likes to be all over you. Don't let you have the time and the space to play the pass that you want. And she'll never give up on something either. So I think it's a bold, promising move from Mikey Harris.
What can Manchester City make of this move here? There's promise in it. Here is Fowler. Might go for goal, does go for goal. Too far away from Mary Fowler.
Yeah, she cuts inside on her right foot. She did originally go on her left, and then she cuts back in, and it just opens up. Brighton again, not able to really get pressure on it and close it down.
There is, when it comes to Lee Gumin, always that little bit of an extra edge when you come up against your former side, particularly when it hasn't quite worked out at that club for you. Scored just 1 goal in her 8 appearances in her 1 season with Manchester City. Wahabi. Hemp. It's Lauren Hemp. Jess Park will pick it up. Frustration as Lee Gumin gets the foot in.
I think just Man City need to get it out of the central area. It's so compact in there. Brighton are making it so hard for them to play. They've got their most joy in the wide areas.
Approaching the midway point of the second half. It's Manchester City, who, as things stand, are moving level on points with leaders Chelsea at the top of the WSL. Here is him. He's everywhere at the moment. Left wing, right back, central midfield.
She don't even look tired. And even though the movement from City, you've got Jess Park coming out here. She's playing at right full-back at the moment. You've got Hemp playing wherever really she wants to go. Hasegawa dropped in as a centre-back. They are fluid in their movement. And I think you have to be, especially when you're coming up against Brighton, who are like to play in a block.
Here is Simons, finds Turland. Trying to play through Lee Gumin. Manchester City play their way out of trouble. Casper Rai, Shaw in a foot race with Carabali, and Shaw's got there first. Then Shaw's past Carabali, who pulls her back right on the edge of the area. It's going to be a free kick. What punishment is there going to be for Yorelin Carabali? Bergsvand was back as well, but she's taking a huge risk there. And the yellow card is out. Yellow card for Yorelin Carabali. She has just about got away with it there, Gilly.
I think she is a very, very, very lucky player at the moment. Now, I think it was a great ball in behind from Manchester City. She got the beating of her. But what Shaw does really well is she stays around Carabali. She tries to fill her, you know. She wants her to get that contact. But it's silly in a way, because you just got to let Shaw go in that sense, because you don't know, that could have been a red. It could have easily been a red. But it's a dangerous position again for City, and they're lucky that it is on the edge of the box.
The contact just outside the area, doesn't continue into it, which is key. And Bergsvand just about getting back. So yellow for Carabali Free kick for Manchester City. Greenwood goes for goal, beaten away by Bagley. On the follow-up is Hemp, blocked and cleared. And Brighton survive and are off on the counter. Here goes Robinson, roared on by the home crowd. Hasegawa with her, Robinson still with it. And in the end, Wahabi getting back does enough.
Yeah, it's a quick transition there, and I don't think it helped. Fowler ended up losing her footing too. But Katie Robinson does really well to drive Brighton up the pitch. Hasegawa just does enough. She has to stay with her there. She does really well defensively.
At the other end, Bagley doing well again to just about not just make the save, but get the ball away from that danger area. It did fall to Hemp, and her effort was blocked. Greenwood forwards. Here is Kasparai. Mark pointing to where she wants it. Kohlberg anticipates. Lee Gu-min. Robinson. Well, home comforts have been hard to find for Brighton this season. Just one win in their last 10 WSL home games. That came against bottom side Bristol City 3-2 back in January. They are not out of this game yet. Manchester City put the 3 points beyond doubt. Kasparai. Fowler. Bit of space for Park, and now Kasparai. Is Park once more? Fowler. Put in by Pinto. As far as Alexandri. Brighton once again dropping deep. Here is Greenwood. They are pushing as a front three when they can. Turner now closing down Alexandri, but Manchester City have played around it. Hasegawa, Fowler, saw the run of Park. Locked away, City corner.
You see what Brighton are trying to do, they're trying to set the traps, they're trying to get City to plan to the certain areas, but when they are going to the areas, they're not there, they can't get there quick enough. Obviously, again, we're here able to see so Bagley save, and she does well because she pushes it enough, wide enough, that then it's difficult for then Lauren Hemp, and it don't fall directly to Shaw.
City have taken the corner short. Hasegawa will send it in, and the header is in. Third goal for Manchester City. And that will be the 3 points for Manchester City. Bunny Shaw rising. And Manchester City are back on track this season. They lead Brighton by 3 goals to 0.
I think you can tell by the way the game's going, it was waiting to happen. Again, Brighton far too slow to come and close that ball down. Can't allow a player like Yumi Hasegawa to get the ball there and have the time and space to pick out Shaw. Does really well with the header. But as soon as that ball goes into the box, you need to be steaming out there to put the pressure on. Don't allow her to hit the ball in there. Shaw does really well to climb up and head it in past Bagley.
17th goal of the season for Khadija Shaw. 16 have come in the WSL in just 15 games. She extends her lead in the Golden Boot race ahead of Lauren James. But it's the title race that Manchester City are focused on. And after Chelsea's victory on Friday night against Arsenal, after the disappointment of those cup exits, they're responding here. But can Brighton respond to that third City goal? Turlin's delivery blocked by Alexandri.
It's really hard there because Turlin gets the ball, she looks up, she's got one player in the box, which is Katie Robinson, who's currently having a race with Wahabi of who's going to get there first. It's really difficult, you're asking a lot from a player, but it's a better reaction from Brighton, obviously, to go straight down to City's end, but need to get more bodies in the box.
Here is Simons, dispossessed by Hasegawa. She'll win it back, Simons. As Brighton look for a goal. As Brighton, indeed, look for their first shot on target in this game. Kuhlberg trying to get past Fowler. He stands up well. Park will help it on. Cannavale there ahead of Shaw. Falls to Lee. Now Zijotti. Simons. Lee Gumin. Kuhlberg. Tatiana Pinto is offside.
It's better build-up play though from Brighton. You know, it's not forced. Good movement, good combinations. There's support for the player on the ball. Just unfortunate. She was flagged offside.
Keating with the clearance. So they have the reinforcements on the bench, Manchester City, but they might not need them this afternoon. They have a huge game coming up next weekend. The Manchester Derby. Next Saturday at 12:30. Bagley taking a touch. Shaw closing down Bagley. Here goes Lee Meng-wen. Did well to keep it in, but can't do anything else with it.
It's different from Brighton though, you know, being a bit more direct. Skipping out the Manchester City midfield.
Well, will she get a start next weekend? Plenty of action to enjoy before that on the BBC. FA Cup highlights tonight on BBC One. The highlights from the WSL this weekend on the Women's Football Show. Follow that also on BBC One. And then the big one, Manchester City against Manchester United in the WSL. Our coverage starts from 12:15 next Saturday. She, of course, will be hoping to return to the starting 11. That's on BBC One, and you can also listen to full commentary on BBC Radio 5 Live. Here is Hasegawa. Alexandri. Hyde Park. Lee Gumin will anticipate. Bergsvand has it for Brighton.
See a couple of times now, Alexandri's got the ball. She's trying to find Park, but Park just can't seem to get the space either side of the midfielder. But if she does manage just to get it, it's very dangerous. She turns her face and drives at the Brighton back line.
Bagley under pressure. Caravali's clearance. Forward by Keating. Keating's making the run through the centre. Nervy by Kuhlberg, but in the end, nice control as Cannavale finds Simons. Now Lee Gumin, Zijotti. Nice sweeping move this from Brighton. Lee Meng-wen getting involved. Looking to find Lee Gumin, cleared away by Alexandri. Nice turn by him.
I do think the introduction of Lee Gu-min as well has really helped the Brighton front line. You know, I think she's come and got a lot more involved in the play, the link-up play, the combination play, which I think they was potentially missing in the first half.
So, with Manchester City leading 3-0, they will be moving level on points with leaders Chelsea. That's how tight it is. Arsenal with some work to do. How do you see this title race playing out in the final games of the season, Gilly?
Oh, Vicky, I don't make no big calls, me, you know, because it comes around and it bites you. I hope it goes down to the very last day. That's what I'm hoping for.
Arsenal still in it?
Oh, I can't, Vicky, I can't.
Oh, there's been plenty of twists and turns so far in this WSL title race.
I just think in the WSL, anyone can beat anyone on their day, and I think there's a few teams who have still got something to say in the matter. So yeah, I think it's an exciting end, but like a neutral for the game, I want it to go down to the last day. I want it to be exciting.
Quite a cryptic way of staying on the fence, Ginny, I like that. Here is Lee Gu-min. Almost suited Tatiana Pinto. Alexandria will tidy up for Manchester City. I have to say, when it comes to the top 3, Champions League football for next season looks pretty much assured unless there was to be a remarkable turnaround by Manchester United combined with a pretty remarkable collapse in the top 3. And that is big for a Manchester City side who missed out on this competition, of course.
Yeah, and I think it's probably helped Manchester City this year as well, that their sole focus isn't on those extra games. But yeah, I think for United, if they miss out on it, it'll be a bit of a blow for them because they wanted it so much, you know, to get into the top 4. It's all about getting into the top 3, getting Champions League.
Here come Manchester City. Fowler, it's behind. Sure, it's Coombs. It's 4. And she does have her goal. Swept home to underscore how Manchester City have bounced back from their recent disappointments. They are very much staking a claim in this title race. They lead Brighton by 4-0, and they're moving level on points with leaders Chelsea.
I did say, though, it was a matter of time for Laura Coombs. You know, she's been able to pick that spot throughout the whole of this game, on the edge of the box. Right, no Brighton player's got a clue where she is at all. Completely all of them just ball watching there. She's able to just get the ball, passes it into the back of the net, but that's been coming for Laura Coombs because she's done that throughout the whole of this game, and she's deserved her goal.
Taking up the perfect position, finding the clinical finish as well. And it is her last action of the game, Laura Coombs, because Manchester City have made a double change. Casper Eye puts Keating under a bit of pressure. Brighton with the change as well. We'll run through those in a moment, but Brighton looking to at least get on the score sheet. Be a tricky Sarri. The player that has come on for Brighton as Chloe Kelly, substitute for Manchester City, eases away from Carabali. Kelly looking for the immediate impact. Bergsvand will clear away to Simons. So there is the double change for Manchester City. Laura Blinkilde-Brown is on, along with Chloe Kelly and Coombs and Hemp making way. Here is Carabali. Is this the time, 10 minutes to play, where Manchester City start thinking about that goal difference? 2 more. They'll go top of the table.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is, Vicky. I think they've got the momentum. You know, they're getting the chances. Obviously, got the introduction of Chloe Kelly then. Carabali's very lucky there in that instant as well, though she did end up potentially getting another second yellow, because it's a bit like deja vu with an incident with Shaw. Fresh legs coming on. They've got every chance to do it.
Confirmation of that Brighton change you just saw there. Tatiana Pinto, the player replaced by Beatrice Zari. Here come Brighton. Kuhlberg. Let it run for Zari. Lovely ball over the top. Turland's drawing the save from Keesing, and once more, actually was in the first half, also denied by the flag.
Yeah, straight away then I just said, what a ball from Zari, you know, to pick the ball up there. I mean, it's tight. It is very tight there. I think it might have been her right knee that was playing her offside, but it's a great ball over the top from Zari.
So more changes for Brighton, and what a moment this is for 16-year-old Grace McEwen. Her WSL career debut. She's made a handful of appearances in cups for Brighton this season, but on to make her WSL debut. Changes afoot for Manchester City as well. 3 of them with that Manchester derby clearly in mind, Gilly.
Yeah, I think, listen, you're 4-0 up. You've got to be sensible, you know, because realistically, probably this starting team, with the exception of Chloe Kelly coming in, would probably be the team that will play against Manchester United. It's also, though, a great opportunity for these players, Morgan, Mace, you know, have not been playing a lot, to be able to get minutes. Because that's what you want as a player. Kennedy as well, coming back. So I think it's a very sensible decision from Gareth Taylor.
And he has the luxury of being able to rotate his squad with the 4-goal lead that Manchester City have. Although, as we were just talking about the goal difference there, you know, of course, Manchester City are still going to want to go forward. Their defensive changes that have been made. Fresh legs at the back still look to preserve this clean sheet. It would be a first in 4 games for Manchester City. Usually very good at keeping them, but that has not been the case of late. Confirmation of those changes. Then Morgan, Kennedy and Mason for Kasparai, Alexandria and Hasegawa. Here is Fowler. Chloe Kelly. Kuhlberg does enough to hold her up, just. Good defending by Beatrice Zari, who will clear for Brighton, only as far as Kennedy. Morgan. Here is Fowler. Intercepted by Turland. She saw the run of Katie Robinson, and this is what Robinson is so good at. Lacking in support, though, and Harvey covered well.
Yeah, it's a good recovery there, but that's what I think Brighton have lacked for majority of this game, is the support for the forward players when they have got the ball. And then the decision-making, sometimes they're running in the wide areas, and they're trying to get the ball in the box. There's one person in there. You know, you have to be able to gamble as well going forward.
Here is Shaw. Turns away from Grace McEwen, who brings it down there, the 16-year-olds.
I mean, it's difficult for any player to come up against Khadija Shaw, but you're making your WSL debut, you're 16 years of age, and you're coming up against one of the most in-form strikers in the league, who's a very difficult player to play against anyway. But I mean, it's great. It's great for a youngster like that to be able to feature and come up against the best players. But here she just tries to get into the battle with her. Shaw does what she loves doing, and that's spinning centre-backs. Then she just brings her down. Shaw's done that really well today.
It's a way out, and they don't go for goal, Manchester City. Instead, Clark will play it to Fowler. delivery. Sarri battling with Shaw. Shaw's come away with it. Sarri blocks it. Here is Morgan. Kelly. No joy with the cross, but they're not satisfied with 4, Manchester City, are they?
No, they're not at all. They're going to want to get more. And I think, listen, all players will know when you're playing in games like this, state of mind, you're 4-0 up, you know that goal difference has a part. You know, listen, let's go and get another one. Let's go and get another one. These are the opportunities that you can in games like this because you can feel it in yourselves when you're playing.
And they had the situation last season, didn't they, when they went into the final day? The goal difference was so big that it was going to be nigh on impossible to overtake it. So you've got to start thinking about it earlier on in the season. And yes, of course, as we said, 3 points was key. At 2-0, it was about seeing it out. Now, it's about putting yourself in the best position on that final day of the season. Issue here for Giulia Zigiotti.
Yeah, she seems to be holding her jaw there. Be interesting to see. Potentially probably just coming up against someone's arms, elbows. It's not intentional at all, just a clash.
Well, they have made all of their permitted changes, Brighton, so she'll have to continue if she can. Zigiotti. Here come Manchester City. Wahabi. Now Ruby Mace. Morgan. Kelly. Thank you. Here goes Kelly, knocked away by Kuhlberg. Sarri will collect. Ball to find Turland under pressure from Kennedy. He's really stepped up high. And Kilda Brown picks it up for Manchester City. Morgan. Here is Mace. Now Wahabi, too much on it for Park.
You see the frustration from Chloe Kelly as well. She just wants to get involved. She wants to get an assist. She wants to create something down this right-hand side.
Does she start in the Manchester derby for you?
Yeah, she starts for me. I think she just offers so much. When she's on her game as well and on her day, she terrorises defences. So yeah, for me, she has to start.
Here is Park, nice control. Fowler. On small. Kennedy. Morgan. Well, the question was, how would Manchester City respond to going out of the FA Cup, going out of the League Cup, seeing those treble hopes, which were alive just 10 days ago, ended? And the answer, Gilly, has been relatively comfortably and relatively emphatically.
Yeah, it's the perfect response, and in all honesty, it's the only response, really. You know, you have to take it game by game. That's all that Manchester City can do now, but obviously for them, the sole focus is going to be the WSL. So now it's about picking off those final remaining fixtures and picking up as many points as they can along the way.
They're moving level on points with leaders Chelsea. Goal difference keeps Chelsea ahead as the flag goes up. And one player who has certainly played her part in this victory at Brighton today for Manchester City is your player of the match, Jim.
Yeah, for me, it's Lauren Hemp. Now, obviously, she gets a goal, she gets an assist. She was just a live wire all game. You know, she didn't look like she was tired at all, but everything, especially in the first half when Brighton were in a bit more of a deeper block, she was the one who was penetrating, she was the one who was getting on the ball. You know, she created a lot for Manchester City, especially when it was frustrating coming up against that block. So for me, yeah, the player of the match is Lauren Hemp.
Her role in this game is done. As Lisa Simons takes this week for Brighton, Turlin, Sarri. Oh, brilliant! Brighton do get a goal. Lee Gumin's run causing all sorts of problems. And the home fans have something to celebrate. Thumbs up from Lee Gumin against her former club. It will only be a consolation, but it will mean so much to this player. Off the bench again to cause the damage for Manchester City. And what a delicate finish it is.
Yeah, and I think if you're looking at Manchester City, it's come down that right-hand side for them, where they've made 2 substitutions.
And they're coming forward again, Brighton, here they go. Cleared away by Ruby Mace. Well, all of a sudden, Brighton believe.
Yeah, it's silly because Chloe Kelly switched off and Esme Morgan switched off down this right-hand side. You know, obviously they've both come into the game as substitutes, but you can't, Chloe Kelly can't just stand there and watch the Brighton player able to pick the ball up. And Lee Gumin has to do a lot still. The ball comes in, she's in a great position. But it's poor from Manchester City defensively, and I think they'll be really frustrated with it.
Brighton earn themselves a corner. Deep delivery, powerfully away by Kennedy. Simons, locked away by Blinkilda Brown, and will be collected by Kiara Keating. Well, there isn't time. There isn't for his side, but a boost for Lee Gumin once again. What an impact she has off the bench, and particularly against Manchester City as Keating is close down. Turland almost getting on the end of it. Sarri does. 3 points might be Manchester City's, but they won't want to take another hit on the goal difference. Sijossi plays it forward, and Lee almost in again. Greenwood across. Nothing to lose here for Brighton at all. Greenwood does well. Mace. And now the game stretched. Clark will run it forwards, pulled back there by Simons, then challenged by Simons, but free kick given for the earlier pullback and the yellow card as well.
Yeah, she's got all of it a bit mad in this extra time. But I think a lot of the problems that have been created have been down Manchester City's right-hand side, where there's a lot of the substitutions have been made. But Park does well because she drives forward, then she cuts back a little bit to sort of draw Simmons in to make that foul as she tries to pull away again.
Final few seconds to play. Manchester City with the free kick. Nice delivery. Shaw was in there. Bergsman as well. Once again, no clean sheet for Manchester City. 4 games without one now.
I just think they've really kicked themselves there, Vicky, because it's come from a set piece. Completely switched off. Now, Brighton do really well because they play quickly, they see the space, but Manchester City will be feeling very disappointed with that.
Kennedy brings it down. So yes, a slight blot on this result, this performance for Manchester City, and as we've said, the difference could be so key. But the key thing was to respond to the disappointment of those 2 cup exits that ended their treble hopes. But their WSL title hopes are very much alive. Gareth Taylor's side responding to a disappointing few days with a victory that takes them level on points with leaders Chelsea in the WSL. Gilly Flaherty.
Yeah, I mean, I think after the week that they've had, the main thing will be that they come away with the results. And that's, like I said, that's the only thing that they can control now, is their results and is the game by game. But I do think they'll feel disappointment in conceding that silly goal at the end there, because we have spoke about goal difference. But yeah, I think it's a professional performance from Manchester City. I think Brighton showed good spells throughout the game, and I think Lee Gumin coming on, I think she brought so much to them. But yeah, so I think it was a deserved result in the end anyway for City.
Another goal for her against her former club. But it's Manchester City's victory. It's Manchester City's 3 points. And how they needed them. They've got them. It finishes. Brighton 1, Manchester City 4.
So a little bit of revenge for Manchester City after Brighton beat them in the reverse fixture earlier in the season. And And an important bounce back as well after going out of those two cup competitions for Gareth Taylor, who's thanking the fans who have made the journey down to the Broadfield Stadium. Anita Sante and Fern Whelan are beside me. Anita, professional job from Manchester City getting that win.
100%, Sarah. I think they showed that they bounced back, you know, from two really disappointed exits out of the cup. They had a good performance. They were able to raise their levels even more so in the second half. You have different players, you know, playing in certain positions, like Mary Fowler out on the right, still had impact, got a goal today. So I think that he'll be really happy with the response from his team.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy, as you say. I think for me, maybe slightly disappointed towards the end, obviously conceding that goal really late on. It doesn't really show the game. I think they deserved the clean sheet. They kept, you know, Brighton out for long spells within the game, so maybe slightly disappointed with that, but on the whole it's the 3 points on the board, which is what they needed.
Yeah, and you got that sense, didn't you, even, you know, as the goals were ticking over, goal differences potentially going to come into it when we talk about this title race with Chelsea towards the end of the season. How disappointed do you think will Gareth Taylor be with conceding that goal late on?
I do think so. I think it's a shame, especially the way they played, to switch off, especially off a set piece as well. They will be disappointed with that. But, you know, they didn't take their foot off the gas when Chloe Kelly came on. She was hungry, as you can see. She was trying to drive the team forward as well. So, you know, they'll be pleased to get 4 goals in the game. And, you know, they'll learn from maybe late goals conceded as well.
Yeah, plenty for Gareth Taylor to chat about with his players. Key as well that they rotated a lot of players late on, were able to bring them on. And they only have one competition to be focusing on now, Anita.
Well, it's an opportunity, isn't it, for Gareth to be able to utilise his full squad, get players some extra minutes as well, and show that they can just seamlessly, you know, slip into the team and perform at the same levels. Obviously, Chloe Kelly, again, injecting some energy and intensity to the game, and they'll be really happy that they got 4 goals today.
Yeah, it was nice to see Ruby Mace get on, obviously get some minutes. Alana Kennedy coming back into the side, so they'll be pleased that they can do that. I think for me, I said it before she scored, but Bunny Shaw did look a little bit leggy today, a little bit tired at times. But again, she's still got the potential to go and score. But I think the fact coming into this late end of the season, they've got a big squad, they've got squad depth, they can rotate and do that. That will obviously serve them well towards the latter stages of the season.
Yeah. Let's have a look then at how things stand on the table after this latest round of fixtures. We know Chelsea beat Arsenal on Friday night, and then Manchester City hit back with a victory of their own here today. So level on points, and as you can see, it may well come down to goal difference. So Manchester City second there in goal difference, 2 goals behind. It could potentially have been just 1 if they didn't concede that late one here against Brighton. So that is how the table look. It's really exciting title race. I know we're going to get onto it, but let's just have a look at how things played out today. And Manchester City really took control of that first half with those 2 goals, Anita.
Yeah, they started off brightly. I thought Brighton actually took the game to them in the very early starts of the game, but Lauren Hemp was always a menace on the left-hand side, and I think that initial ball from a turnover that Jess Park picks up in the centre of the park showed that they could exploit the gaps that Brighton had between their defensive line and midfield. But here, just being able to get 1v1, take that shot on early, which doesn't allow Bagley to really set and get her footing and her positioning, which I think she'll still be disappointed that she wasn't able to make a better save from that.
Yeah, especially since they started off so well, Brighton, in terms defensively. But I think, you know, at times it was their own errors that cost them in this, especially for the first 2 goals. Again, we can see Lauren Hemp just getting a lot of time on that left-hand side to pick out a cross. And then they'll be really disappointed in how they switched off at the back post there, just allowing Mary Fowler to come in and ghost unmarked and obviously put it past Sophie Bagley for the second goal.
OK, well, Lauren Hemp scored the first goal on the day. She is the player of the match, and she is with Joe Curry now.
Well, Lauren, at times it was a bit wet, it was a bit muddy, but essentially 3 points in the bag and a goal for yourself as well. How much did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, it was really fun. Obviously, we got quite a few goals. Unfortunate to concede so late on. Obviously, the goal difference is going to be massive for us going forward, so it's important that we really kick on with that. But no, a great team performance, and especially with the conditions, how they were, we managed them really well.
I was going to say, in terms of the goal difference, was the message from Gareth Taylor towards the end of the game, score as many as you can? Because obviously points were the most important thing today, but goal difference could still play a part in this title race.
Yeah, I think one of the messages throughout the week is to be ruthless and relentless, and I feel like that's something that we've maybe lacked in consistency over the last few weeks, and it was something that we definitely focused on today, and it was really important that we obviously created loads of chances and also scored them, which is very helpful. So yeah, onwards we go, and hopefully that puts a statement in the league that we're obviously here and we want to win it, so we're going to try our best to do that.
In terms of the title race, as a group of players, did you watch the match on Friday night between Chelsea and Arsenal?
I mean, I was at my home, I watched it a bit, yeah. Obviously it was a good game of football, but obviously the focus is on ourselves and what we can do because it's still in our hands at the end of the day. So yeah, it was a good game of football, but like I said, we focus on what we can do to try and stop them from winning.
Well, look, you've got a long old journey back up the M6 today, but next weekend you've got the Manchester derby at the Etihad. How long has that one been ringed in your diary?
Yeah, it's definitely one that I've looked forward to. I mean, they're the games you want to be involved in and play in, so yeah, it's really exciting, and especially being at the Etihad, we've had good memories there, so yeah, it'll be really exciting.
Well, look, we'll let you go and find some dry clothes, but congratulations, you are the Barclays Player of the Match.
Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Cheers. Thanks.
Congratulations to Lauren Hemp there. Yeah, Manchester derby live on the BBC next Saturday from 12:15. That's going to be a big one. Interesting that Lauren Hemp mentioned the goal difference and being ruthless and relentless.
Yeah, it's interesting that, you know, players have this in the back of their mindset as well, and they're taking that into their performances. You could see today that she really wanted to be the one to take responsibility in the attack, to go 1v1, create opportunities in terms of the assist as well. And ultimately, it's a title race, so that's what's going to matter at the end.
It is, as you said, you know, they're under pressure now to kind of keep it up, and all they can do is keep it in their own hands.
Yeah. Well, look who has joined us. Gareth Taylor, winning manager of Manchester City. How happy are you with that clinical performance today?
Yeah, I thought we were really good. I thought that we played some really good stuff. I think everyone can see that the pitch was actually quite good. We saw some of the pictures from on the TV and thought, is this game going to go ahead? But yeah, the pitch held up well, but it's still not an easy surface to play on for us, and at this time of year especially, and with the amount of games that are played on this pitch. But I thought the players built up really well, created good chances. Were clinical when we needed to be. We spoke at half-time about making the scoreline more improved than what it was. Really a bit frustrated with the goal at the end, I'll be honest.
Because goal difference is all important.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. But look, you know, to come away, it's not an easy game, this. None of the game's going to be easy at all now. Everybody thinks the game's played on paper, and it's not. It is so difficult. But I have to say, the players executed like the game plan really well today.
You still have some big fixtures coming up, but you are only focused.
They're all big.
But also, you're only focused
big
on the league now, because as much as you will have wanted to have stayed in the cup competitions, do you think that can potentially help you?
Yeah, this question gets asked all the time. If we were still in both cup competitions, I'd be saying, yeah, it's great. So I'm not sure how to answer it, to be honest. All we do is try and attack the next game that's in front of us, and that's before today it was 7, 1 down now, 6 to go. We move on to the next one.
Gareth, what was your decision today to not start Chloe Kelly in this game? And obviously you have a very competitive squad, and it was a really good professional performance. But what was the thinking behind that?
Just that we have good options at the top end of the pitch, and you've seen from the bench today, and also some players that don't make it onto the pitch. The competition is really healthy, and at the top end of the pitch we've got good options. Mary Fowler is, we've spoken about Mary for a long time, about what she's capable of doing. Jess Park's come into the team and done very, very well as well. So there's good competition at the top end, and that's what you want on the running.
I think obviously we saw as well, like, Hemp getting player of the match. But for me personally, I thought Hasegawa was fantastic in that midfield today, bossing it. Just how much of an importance is she to the squad after she plays most every game?
Yeah, we debrief at half-time, and we were talking about certain points, and I just stopped to say that Hasegawa was, what a 45 minutes she put in there. She's just so intelligent with the way she moves to receive the ball, but also moves to allow others to receive the ball, and that's very rare that you've got someone who's willing to sacrifice themselves. And physically she's so good, even though she's small, she's so good physically. Technically she's great. She's just a top player.
And a defensive work rate as well. I think she doesn't get as much credit for that, obviously, say on the ball, but off the ball as well.
Yeah, she works, she makes the right decision, she anticipates the play so well. There's a lot of players that are kind of like reactors. She's an anticipator, and she probably had to do that her whole career because of her size, but her brain is incredible.
How do you manage the pressure in these next few matches, knowing that you are really in this title race?
Just the next game. I think I know it sounds easy.
Surely not, come on.
No, we try to keep it as simple as possible, and that's the way to be. If you start thinking too far ahead, or what about when we play these, or what about if 2 other teams are playing, we just try and control what we can control. And like I say, the frustrating thing today is if we don't concede, and we probably get one at the end, we go top of the league outright. But I think I spoke before the game where we've been this season, top of the league early on. Then we were 6 points behind all of a sudden within 2 games. To claw that back to where we are now, I think has been phenomenal effort from the team.
Because you have gone on this amazing run. It's now 10 league wins in a row. How are you doing it, and are you aware of that? Does that act as a motivator, or does it hang over as a little bit of a pressure?
No, I just look at probably next game, like I've just said, and also our performance. I think our performance is so important for us. You know, in the cup against Chelsea, I thought our performance was so good, but we just didn't have that final bit with finishing it off. And we've been pretty good in our performances this season, and that doesn't guarantee the result, but it gives us a much better chance, because we know if we build really well and we get to the final third, then it's the hardest part is putting the ball in the back of the net. We know, but we did it pretty well today.
We'll let you go, but Manchester Derby next weekend?
Looking forward to it. Can't wait. Cheers.
We'll see you there. Thanks a million, Gareth. Good to get your thoughts. Really interesting to hear that. Some Manchester City fans creating a ruckus behind us. They are happy at the moment, and, you know, it sounds all quite positive, doesn't it? And if we just look at, you know, the second half goals and the fact that, you know, Gareth Taylor was talking about scoring those goals. Bunny Shaw, I mean, such a force in front of goals. Now 16 league goals.
Yeah, well, it all comes from a set piece, doesn't it? A short corner, Hasegawa changed the angle, and Bunny Shaw doing what Bunny Shaw does well, rising highest in the box and redirecting the ball towards goal. But you have to say that Brighton did not defend this situation very well. Not a single player really jumps with her and gets contact to just, you know, make it difficult for her to really get a good header.
Again, you can't allow a player like Bunny Shaw that much time in the box. And again, Hasegawa, all that time to be able to pick out the cross in the first instance. It's too easy for, you know, to come against a team like City to allow them to do that.
Yeah. And then the fourth goal that they got, Laura Coombs, and it had been coming in. She just floated in so beautifully into the box to be able to kind of receive that pass and finish it off so well.
But it was a lovely build-up to the goal on the right-hand side. Jess Park picks up the ball, is able to get a ball out wide to Kasparai, and a little bit of combination and clever play from Fowler to find this cutback where Laura Coombs just arrives to finish that attack. And I think, again, you could see that fluidity in Man City's play, couldn't you, Fern?
Yeah, I mean, it's criminal from Brighton for me. It's like you've got to be able to track your runners and look over your shoulder, and not one player has had a look at where Laura Coombs is. I think it's Igiotti in the box. She's, again, got too much time and space within the box to be able to slot that away, but she deserved that goal for the way she played today.
Oh, and a nice moment there. Former teammates, Vicky Losada, captain of Brighton, of course, Lauren Hemp, running up to give her a big hug. Hemp smiling just a little bit bigger than Vicky Losada today. Gareth Taylor mentioned goal difference. I know we're talking about it an awful lot, but you just don't know how much that goal at the end that they conceded will potentially come back to maybe haunt them.
No, exactly. And I mean, he said it himself. He was very disappointed to concede a goal in the latter stages of the game in the way that they did. But you have to give credit to Brighton here, who were able to just get numbers in the box, and their substitutions, Lee Gun-min coming in and having the impact that they needed at this point of the game. It's just a bit of a consolation for them.
Yeah, I think they'll be disappointed again. They're switching off. It's a set piece. You know, you can get a little bit tight, well, a lot tighter there to stop these balls being in and played around you. Sari gets the cross in, and it's Lee Gun-min with the finish. But again, so late on in the game, just stay switched on, keep that clean sheet, and keep concentrating, because again, you've still got games to come, and it's going to make a difference.
It sounds really easy, but how difficult is it to keep the concentration up when you are 4-0 up and you're in control of a tie and it's late on? You just want to, I'm sure, be in the dressing room.
Yeah, sometimes it is difficult, especially when you're the team on top and you're attacking, and suddenly everyone gets that rush of blood where they think they can start doing things that they wouldn't normally do, and maybe not communicating as much as they should. But with a team like City, with the experience they have and the quality they have in that back line and the defensive record they've had across the season, you would expect them to manage that situation better.
And they made changes as well. So the back line was disrupted. The changes in the back line, obviously Morgan coming in, Kennedy coming in. So, you know, they might have been a little bit kind of rattled by that, and you don't usually change your back line as much in a game. So potentially that makes it a little bit easier to switch off as well.
OK, let's get some more reaction then with Jo Curry. She is speaking to Mikey Harris.
Well, Mikey, 2-0 down at half-time. It was always going to be an uphill struggle in the second half, but where did that one get away from you?
Yeah, really disappointing to concede the goal in the nature that we did, because I felt like although Manchester City had a lot of possession, we felt like we were limiting them to few chances, and I always felt like we were a threat on the counter attack. But unfortunately, you know, mistakes get punished by a team of their quality, and you know, that's what happened to us today. So disappointing, but you know, we'll take the positives out of it. I think we had some really good moments in the game, both with and without the ball. So we'll look to build on them going into Leicester next week.
The scoreline perhaps doesn't reflect the good spells that Brighton had today, but essentially it's two relatively big defeats on the bounce. Is this a group of players where you perhaps now need to pick them up, or is that positive energy already there?
No, I think I'd like them to believe in themselves a little bit more. I certainly believe in them as a group. I think, you know, in our last WSL game, you look and we go away from home and score 7 goals, which is an incredible achievement. And I'm really confident that we are a real threat going forward. I think as well we can be solid defensively, as we showed for large periods of the game today. It's just about us bringing all those things together and trying to find a complete performance, and that's what we'll keep working towards. It is a process, so we're really early on in the journey, and you know, you have to give a lot of credit to Man City today. They were excellent and ruthless in the spells. I'm really pleased that we had another WSL debut in Grace McEwen today, which I think is something, an experience that she'll never forget. You know, and what an opponent to come up against it in Bunny Shaw. So you know, she'll remember that for forever, and it's a great experience in her journey.
To be 4-0 down, but to then go and score in the dying moments, does that show the character of this side, that even when the chips are down, they're not completely out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would never question the attitude and the desire and the character of this group of players. You know, from the moment that I walked into the role, they've shown that in abundance on and off the pitch. You know, they're a fantastic group to work with, and you know, we'll have to reflect, review, learn from this game, and then build into a big game against Leicester.
Thanks for speaking to us.
Thanks, Joe. Cheers.
Good to get the thoughts there of Mikey Harris. Before we go off air, let's get a little title prediction. Come on.
Oh, come on. Sarah, don't do this to us.
We're going to do it. Come on. Gilly Flaherty sat on the bench in commentary. I'm not going to have it from the two of you.
Well, I think Manchester City have continued their good form in the WSL, applying pressure on Chelsea, but I think Chelsea arguably have the better run-in and are probably, it's their title to lose.
I think I have to agree with you, to be honest, in terms of the run-in. Anyone can take points off anyone in this league, but I feel like the way Chelsea are, and, you know, they've done it, they've been there before. They got United in the latter stages, but for me, I think they're the team to beat.
2 for Chelsea. Anita, Fern, thank you so much for your company this afternoon. And remember, there's a treat in store next weekend. City against United, Manchester derby. See you then.
And Hem could be in here. Hem for Manchester City. Brilliantly squeezed through. Here come Manchester City once again. Fowler's there. Fowler scores 2-0. We'll send it in, and the header is in. It's 4, and she does have her goal. Oh, brilliant. Brighton do get a goal. And Manchester City are back on track this season.